Welcome, everybody, to our fourth edition of Rise with the RVWA panels. March is the International Women's History Month, and the RVWA has done different panel discussions on the different segments of our industry. We started with OEMs, we did suppliers, and then hospitality. And today, welcoming our dealer friends on this side to talk about things that they've gone through in their life and their career and getting their different aspects of our industry. I'm Tracy Anglemeyer. I am the chair-elect for the RVWA. I will be your moderator today. On our panel so far, if Stacey gets on, we also have Anita and Laurie. I will let them introduce themselves, tell you about how they got into the industry, where they work, their current roles. So Anita, if you want to start off and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. So I am Anita. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at RVDA of Canada. So I'm located in Vancouver, BC. I have over 15 years of experience in the RV industry. And so my work includes developing training, seminars, and crossing over to digital campaigns to further professionalize the RV industry. And I'm very passionate about bringing people together, forming relationships, and promoting career opportunities in the RV industry, and enhance brand visibility for RVD of Canada. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Laurie Hirsch.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for inviting me, Tracy. I appreciate it. I'm Laurie Hirsch. I work currently with Campers Inn in the seat of HR Manager and Administrative Services. I've been here for 10 years, coming in July, which I feel like surprises me. Initially started in Administrative Services as we were going through some acquisitions and standardizations. Fell into the HR seat about 7.5 years ago. And kind of have the scope of payroll as well. And yeah, just keep on showing up every day to hopefully solve problems and advance what we can for all of our customers, whether that be the employees all the way through to our retail customers.
So my name is Stacey Robinson. I've been with Great Canadian RV for the last 13 years as dealer principal. I come from a healthcare background. I have a doctorate in psychology and a degree in criminology. I've got 5 kids, 3 grandkids, and I live in Buckhorn, Ontario.
Let's jump into some questions here. I'm excited to hear from y'all on some of these. Okay, so first question, which I love thinking back on my own career and going, what's the one piece of advice you wish you had received when starting in the industry? Wow. And I'm like, can you narrow this down to just one? Stacey, let's start with you.
Sure. Okay. I think I would, looking back, I wish somebody had explained to me the importance of networking actively from the very beginning. Building strong relationships within our industry can open doors and provide valuable support, especially as a woman. Find your allies early. Look for people who will champion you. And I guess that would be my most important piece of advice.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's a great one. Laurie?
I actually I feel like I did get this answer very early on. And it was from a fellow RVWA member named Debbie. And early on, I had hit some challenges, and it was really interesting. And HR, the land of HR, and maybe a lot of my experience will kind of come from that perspective, but I can't remember exactly what the situation was, but she said, you know, it's really nice if you can just get the art and the skill of lower your expectations, not your standard. And so lowering my expectations, I find, gives me that extra grace for someone to go, okay, great, but I'm still going to keep my standard. And, you know, as we went through quite a bit of acquisitions and growth, and all we, did for a good time there was you made things, they worked, and then you broke them, and then you just kept doing it. And so getting comfortable in that uncomfortable, a real skill that I ended up using was that advice of lower my expectations, keep my standards, keep going. But it helped me kind of not think that the world was falling every single day.
Right. That's a good one. Don't lower your own, but help others and, understand where they're coming from, right?
Yeah.
Good. Anita?
Yeah, I would add to what Stacey has talked about to network, but also to be ready and be really comfortable talking about yourself, who you are, what you've done, what you hope to accomplish, and build connections from that. And it wasn't actually from an advice that I received; it was actually a real situation, and it. I was early, and I had opportunity to meet many industry executives, but I wasn't ready. So I felt like it was that missed opportunity that sort of led me to just constantly remind myself I need to be prepared because I don't know when I would get those opportunities.
That's a
So
good one. We tend to be
yeah,
able to talk about others, but not about ourselves, and not put ourselves forward, put others forward. Yeah, that is a growth that I think comes, or hopefully comes, that a lot of us need to work on. It's good. Our second question is, can you share some pivotal moments that shaped your career? We'll try to start with Stacey again. I hate to do that first off, but since she's got some issues up there.
Yeah, it's touch and go. I'm on my phone, so I'm hoping that, and I'm standing out by the door, so I'm hoping I can keep the signal. I think for me, coming into the RV space late in my career, I had a lot of fresh ideas and fresh eyes, and that has afforded me a lot of pivotal kind of aha moments. Something I guess for me that stands out was I had decided that I was going to take on a leadership role within the dealership, and overhaul our customer care and community engagement practices, because quite frankly, they were non-existent when I came to Great Canadian RV. And I think now looking back, I can see how that has really allowed us to stand out as an industry leader in our community. And I think that's been really pivotal for us.
Yeah, and you had a career beforehand too. Well, most of you all did. So having a career and then changing into the RV industry, did you had that background, right? And to go, okay, what do we need to do and how do you move it forward?
Yep, exactly.
Right. I think sometimes that helps. And I love this panel because we have a mix of those backgrounds coming through, to look at different perspectives. As by the way, anybody out there has questions, you can put them in the chats for us as we go too. So I want to make sure that you all know that, hey, you can participate in this. Laurie, how about you?
I think for me, again, a lot of the experience that I have is based on a company that's growing. And I know that not everybody, some companies are in maintenance, but being part of a growth company, for me, it was really that first acquisition that I did, I think, independent in this seat, and that was the Capital RV one. I mean, I never foresaw merging a 401k ever in my life. Like, great, okay. All the way to the 2022 Little Dealer acquisition, where we did 3 sites one day, and it took a team. And I joke, I say I have to stop succeeding or Ben's going to get 7 at one time, but because we just keep doing it. But to be able to utilize whatever skills, whether it be HR, payroll, administration, because it takes all aspects of, a dealership, parts, service, sales, all the support staff, and to bring everybody together to be able to continue to do that. Again, our very first acquisition with or mine in the seat with Capital was very different than, the 5 that we did in a row in 2022, and to watch the team evolve and be able to succeed was kind of really cool. Like, yeah, we do have this, and we've improved every single time. And so to me, that's, it's shown that the RV space. We know what we need to do to get all the aspects covered. And then more towards my specialty of HR of, okay, great. Now all the things that I have to check off in that land was kind of big for me.
Yeah, big moves. Anita, do you have a pivotal moment in your career?
Well, I would say there's several, but one, I guess it's still ongoing, is that I have always been very passionate in event planning, and particular large events that really bring communities together, and in the RV industry's case is to let more people know about who we are and the jobs that are available. And so that requires meeting them where they are. So I have been looking for events where how do we're not large enough to be a competition trade. So when I first heard about the Skills Canada national competition, I thought, okay, let's see how we can get in as a try a trade exhibitor. And this was over 10 years ago. So I managed to convince our education committee at the time that we need to participate in this. Got a lot of pushbacks initially because, well, nobody knows us. Well, that's exactly why we need to be there. And from there, just the participate, they saw that we needed to be out there to let people know who we are. And one event, it got so large where I had over 4,000 people in our 600 square foot booth. And
Ooh,
at one point, there was a lineup over 2 hours. There was almost like a Disneyland lineup, and where they really wanted to try activity, and we had partnered with a local manufacturer to bring a unit there on display. It was that kind of moment, and all the volunteers there, they just couldn't believe the connection that we had. So it's very exciting, and it's you really feel like this is what we do. We want to connect with people, and we want to be able to share with people what it's like to work with RVs. And regardless what position you're in sales, parts, service, you have a part in this, and you can help bring and inspire that joy in people.
that's good. That's a great accomplishment. Yeah. I like the Disney line. That's good.
Yeah, it was. I almost had to turn people away. It's like, there's school groups. It's like, what time are you here till? You probably don't want to spend 2 hours in line.
But getting the school groups involved and getting the youngers in and educating them on the industry, that's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. I think, Laurie, we'll start with you on the next question, because as you were talking about acquisitions and growing your first time and moving 401ks, so how's your definition of work-life balance change over the course of your career?
I was sitting here going, good grief, I hope somebody was going to give me advice on this one. But it's funny because I take that and I go, I'm usually the team. There's another RVWA member that is here in the building, and we're always dragging each other out. We are the last ones out. So I think as far as work life, I probably don't have that good of work-life balance. But I think what I can speak to, and I hear people say it all the time, is obviously, for those that don't know, I'm part of family. And I think for those family businesses, really creating the rules around that so that it can be successful and work well. And I think that would be a good work-life balance example, because in some cases that means I have to be a better not talker than maybe family being better not listeners. Or sometimes it means, almost formally having conversations. I remember starting this role and having those formal conversations so that we could have work-life balance, meaning this is not a guarantee, but nor is it an obligation on my part. And so if it's not working for anybody, that veto card, that hand, that flag, whatever you may be, can be called and we can talk it out. And if it doesn't work, it's not win-win, then okay, then great. And so for us, I think being able to still have family and go on vacations and, have weekends and, have life outside of the office is probably an example that I can give that maybe some relate to that are in family business.
Oh, thanks for that, Derek. I mean, you look at the dealer segment, and there's quite a few families that work together, you know, in dealerships, and sometimes it can put a strain. You have to figure out, you know, and when you shut it down or not, or I like the card. I'm playing my card. Stacey, you may have the same thing going on, your dealership, but from your perspective with your degree in your previous roles, you know, how do you do that work-life balance, and has it changed over the course of your careers then?
Oh, absolutely. It has changed and I expect it will continue to evolve. It's a question that really hits close to home for me because I have been having active discussions with my 28-year-old daughter who has finished her master's degree and now she's got a real job and she's trying to figure it out. And she's, you know, so frustrated by that whole concept. You know, and constantly saying to me, Mom, how do you do it all? And I think when you talk about work-life balance, we perceive it as a balance between the needs of home life and work life. And home life demands for women in particular often look like caregiving for other people, whether it's elderly parents or children or spouse. So I think, you know, we perceive work-life balance as women as some holistic, like a bigger picture thing. And sometimes we lose our own needs in that balance. We don't always prioritize looking after ourselves. So I think, you know, in that landscape, we really have to reevaluate what work-life balance even looks like. And for me, I've accepted the fact that it's not always going to look like a 50-50 kind of balance. That's not how it is. Sometimes it's going to be 40-60. So just trying to, for me, be cognizant and aware of where am I at right now? And have I been completely out of balance one way or the other for a prolonged period of time? And what do I need to do to kind of try and shift that? I think is important. I think we lose awareness because we just get so entrenched in making sure that we're getting all of the things done.
Not letting one of the plates fall, as I always say, right?
Exactly.
Keeping them in the air. But it's good. I think understanding the, you know, what works for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. You have to find that yourself and take time for yourself. And everybody's individual in that. Um, thank you for that. So Anita, how has yours changed, or what do you do to achieve a work-life balance?
Well, I used to think I could go on forever, and you know, many hours in a day until that didn't work anymore. And so I've literally learned to listen to my body and not so much look for what works for everybody else because I'm not like everybody else. So, and really letting go the concept that I'm trying to fit everything in so many hours in a day or compartmentalize things because my office is very mobile in a more fluid sense more than ever. So if it makes me feel better to do something later in the day or just even, I'm probably not the best example, but to me that works because I'm not trying to force myself to do a number of things in a fixed time frame where I feel more stressed about trying to fit all that in. But instead, maybe I have more exercise that's scheduled in, and physical health is very important for various reasons. So once I realized that I'm not trying to fit into a mold and trying to create a schedule that's going to add to that stress, and it's almost instant relief. That works for me.
A little prioritizing.
Myself over above beyond other things. And not feeling guilty about it.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? Not feeling guilty or putting, you know, taking it on or taking it internal. So, you know, that's good stuff. I think we'll go back to Stacey first on this one. What achievements or project are you most proud of in your career?
This one was probably the easiest answer for me to come up with. A project that really stands out for me is my successful involvement in the launch of the Power Motive Technician program at Fleming College. It's been an 11-year labor of love for me. My involvement started a long time ago, and I have seen several staff come and go. And finally, in the fall of this year, that program will launch. They do have their enrollment, so super excited about that. And I'm very proud of my involvement in the first ever RV Essentials for Women course offered in Canada that ran last week at Fleming with RVWA. And I'm really, really proud of my involvement with RVWA being the first and only female on the board of directors from Canada.
Yeah, it's some great achievements. I was excited to do last week's course too, up there and partner with Fleming. So get more
It was-
female technicians and get them going, right?
It was awesome.
Good.
So empowering and so great to see us come together in Canada the way that RVWA has been able to come together in the States. I feel like that's just going to get bigger and better for us here.
Yeah, I do too. A lot of good things to come, for sure. Yeah, thanks for your help in that. That was a good, big achievement. So appreciate your help on that one and everything you did.
It was my
Anita,
pleasure.
sorry.
I would say it's not any specific project, but not more behind the scenes, because with every event, especially large events that I organize, always things that, despite best plans and intentions, things always not go as planned. And I take most pride when there's something that's going on catastrophically, but yet none of the participants realize what's happening. So it's those, when I hear that and then people give good feedback at the end of that event, that makes me really proud.
Save the day and yep.
Yeah,
Could have been a disaster and came out great.
yeah. Nobody knew what actually happened. So
That's the best.
yeah. It's when you have plan B, C, and still, it's kind of like your the weather. Like you saw it coming, it's very slowly, and you can't avoid it. So what do you do? Yeah,
You make the best of it.
yeah.
You're that stable one in the crisis modes. We know who to go to. Laurie, what achievements or projects are you most proud of in your career so far?
Gosh, I know, picking one. I think if there's such a thing as an achievement of continuing to be adaptable, and hopefully there's never mastering, but embracing the art of everything's figure outable. I think I look at the other staff that are probably here the longest, those of us that knew how things were done before there were technologies or processes, and the industry, or at least the company, has grown, or things have changed so quick that, like I said before, just as you figure something out, you break it and there's a whole new way to do it. And so continuing to be adaptable, whether it be continuing education, whether it be SHRM SCP, or using my prior life as an athletic trainer to figure out work comp things, and just kind of like always embracing the challenge and showing up to figure out what needs to be done. And the achievement is the team succeeds in being able to do it with some really great people.
It's great. Yeah. It's always changing, isn't it? When I started in the industry, there was no internet. People go, what? And I'm like, there were no cell phones. I'm like, huh? Yeah, I'm old.
Payroll with paper and pen, or before the days of Excel or whatnot. And
right. Orders on paper. Pick up the phone and called. There was no texting or emailing. So I love the evolution though, and looking at the future and where, this industry can go. There's a lot moving right now, and to see that is so cool, and to know where we can go if we do it right. It's
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think to be in it, I mean, I started with a department of 0. Like it was congratulations, you're it. And I said no. Probably 70 people. No lie. But to now have it grow to what it is, to where it's a sustainable 2 departments for the company. I guess I'll take that one. I didn't even really think of it until there, but
See, achieved a lot. It's good. Our next question, I even thought about this and like, wow. This is a big one for me. Knowing and my thing is giving back and mentoring and making the industry better. What legacy would you like to leave behind in your role? Anita, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah. I think I like to be remembered as being very passionate about every project that I'm involved in, and always full of ideas and helping to bring people together, no matter what event or just presenting those opportunities to them and across Canada.
Yep. Laurie?
oh gosh, this one I like. This one I probably think about it more than I realize it. And it's probably because I'm always trying to replace myself in a sense that once I gather a skill or something, great, pass it off. What's the next thing that I need to do? Ultimately, I want to leave the place better than I found it. Like it has to, what have I done that's improved? And again, I really get excited about embracing the challenges with whether it be managers or employees or the staff on the team, setting them up to succeed and making them confident in the skills that they have, so that when they get that next challenge, they remember it and they go, oh, great, I learned that from my HR manager, and maybe they leave us and they're not necessarily always with Campers Inn or somewhere else. I recently had another employee that was like, gosh, you really set me up, forcing me to do bulleted emails, and that's it. It was because I'm like, because nobody's going to read it, honestly, like short and sweet. And if you can't do it, they're not going to read it. And so setting others up, for example, so that they can succeed in what they're trying to do. And like I said, creating processes so that this is more sustainable than ever, and employees can just be successful and then more satisfied in their roles.
It's good. Giving back, making it better. Stacey, how about you?
I think for me, I'd like to be remembered as someone in the industry that people felt they could count on to help them achieve their potential. So probably around the same lines as you, Tracy, legacy being mentorship and leadership. It's important to me that the work environment that the leadership is happening in is collaborative and people feel valued and respected. So I hope that when employees come and go from our organization, they leave feeling like they were always valued by us and that their contributions were respected.
Yeah. This is always a good question. I analyze a lot, which some good answers, some great ones. I mean, obviously there's not a wrong one, but there's so much that y'all are doing out there and so much going on right now that the industry is, like I said, in a prime spot right now. And there's a lot of things that are going on and a lot of great leaders out there. So if anybody has any questions for the panel, we'll take a few seconds here and please put them in the chat for the panel and see if you have questions that we can answer out there for y'all. I'll throw one out there. What are your thoughts on the biggest challenge facing industry or field today? So, everybody's like, whoa. And there's, different things that are going on in the industry. There's like, EV stuff coming out, or there's different things in your probably dealerships are very different than some of the OEMs that are facing some different things, or just in your career as HR. Laurie, what's your thoughts and biggest challenges facing your field right now?
That's a great question. Communication. There's I tend to have a lot of like one-liners, and it's, sometimes no good deed goes unpunished, and what you think is you're trying to maybe say something nice or do something, and it isn't received that way, because there's a failure of communication, or there was an expectation that somebody had and the other person didn't know it. The speed of communication is also extremely fast. I mean, are we texting? Are we getting a phone call? Are we looking at an email? Is it coming through Teams? Is it, on whatever the internal systems and technology is? So the clear miss of how do you get all the information so that you can communicate effectively to accomplish things is a challenge. And then I think people's attention span, it's easy as an iPad, for a 2-year-old. And we've just got so quick that are we losing the art of communication and, using all the words, and words matter, and how do we deliver that? And so to me, I think communication seems to be a big challenge, because it does impact operations, and then it impacts, people and their feelings and how they interact, with employee culture. And so I see that as probably a big hot button.
Yeah, it impacts all aspects of life. And you're right, during COVID, I think we went down to 6 seconds of yeah. And then we have so many different ways that we're communicating now coming through. So that's great. Great answer. I see we had one that came through on our chat board of what advice would you give somebody new starting the industry? Stacey, you want to field that one?
Sure, absolutely. I think that goes back to an answer that I gave earlier on. It is so important to become involved into network, and to rely on your allies and your peer group in terms of, problem solving, or a fresh opinion, or if you're stuck, don't be afraid to reach out, get involved. RVWA does, not to beat that drum completely, but it really does afford a lot of opportunities. There's a mentorship program. There's different committees. Even if you're not in the Elkhart area, you can still take advantage of some of those programs and really get to network with people.
Yeah, getting involved is huge. It took me a lot of years to do that, and then realize there's so much in the industry, and you learn so much more when you get involved, and then you can give back. And it takes all, and without us getting involved, there's the lack. So for sure.
Last year, I had a mentee, and she actually was laid off, and she messaged me that, that was happening. And I reached out with her resume to our network, and you wouldn't believe how quickly people were activated to try and help this girl find a placement or a job. It was just incredible. It was like lightning.
Yeah, I remember that. Denise is asking a question. Anita, let's try this. What's your best advice to yourself or your team when you or someone else makes a mistake?
I would say always own it, and that it's better to it's always a learning opportunity, as hard it is to admit that you made a mistake, but it's use that as what did you learn from it, and it really take that lesson to heart, then you hopefully wouldn't make that mistake again next time. And also as a leader, I think it's really show good quality as a leader, that you're willing, that you're a human, and that to your team, that leaders also make mistakes, and that everybody would have a chance to recover and learn from that.
And yeah, we're all human. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We all do it. Unfortunately, we don't
Yeah.
like to, but you're right. Yep, admit it and learn from it. Laurie, would you like to field the next one? What is one habit that plays into your success?
A great question. sometimes I ask, I go, I feel like our kryptonite is also our special sauce. Because sometimes I just don't know how we accomplish what we do. But I find what I say, I find myself saying over and over again, to quote TV show, play the player, not, or the player, not the game. Meaning if I'm talking to a general manager, they may not be of equal knowledge or experience or understanding as another person in the same title. And so, do you know enough about the person that you're dealing with, whether it's going through a problem, a project, whatnot? Have you done your homework and know where they're at? And also, do you know enough about your specialty or your area that you're bringing to that table and that solution? So I kind of generally know who I'm talking to, and I usually hopefully know the answer to the questions that I'm asking. And if I don't, then really I am like the queen of clarifying questions. I'm just always there, like, I don't want the Inquisition because Laurie's going to ask me a million questions, but I really want to understand the full scope of what we're talking about, so that great, now we can go to solution mode and implement it properly the first time, right? So that we don't have to go back and fix it. So know the person that you're working with. Maybe you know their disc profile. That is not a skill you pick up by osmosis. You have to practice it. You have to know your personality profile and how you come across in order to have the best success when collaborating with others. And it's not believe me, speaking to myself out loud, I can go watch this recording later, but yeah, trying to do that. And I find that people will generally give you more grace if they know that you're trying to understand where they're coming from and you've taken the 2 seconds to think about that. So when you do hit those challenges, and maybe you don't, great, then everything's awesome. But the land that I work in, I'm usually preparing for worst case scenario. And I find if I'm well prepared, then I can mitigate that risk as much as possible.
That's great. Great answer. Stacey, do you have a habit that plays into your success?
I would say for me, it's the awareness and the willingness to be a collaborator. I think understanding that you can get way more accomplished if you can get some buy-in and you're working with like-minded people. I think I like to collaborate with everybody on everything.
Pull it together and get the best. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anita,
everybody.
do you have a habit that plays into your success?
I would like to say stay organized, and that could also involve scheduling and just so you know where you're at all the time, and write down ideas and just that helps to keep everything in check and in perspective as well. And yeah, because it's with technology, it's so easy, and you could just either through an app or a calendar on your phone. But if you're disorganized, how does that appear to other people? So so it's taking control of your life, no matter how small. Start small. If you don't want digital calendars, use a handwritten calendar. So what media works for you, you decide, but staying organized is very important.
Yeah, sometimes hard in our hectic, busy lives, but
Yeah.
yes, for sure. No, great. Um, Anybody else have any other questions out there for this great panel today? I know some great questions coming in from our members out there. Is there anything else that any of you would like to conclude with before we do some housekeeping?
I just want to add, you had a question earlier about, I want to say collaboration within the industry. And like, for example, RVDA of Canada, we're organized in a confederation of regional and provincial associations. So then everybody becomes part of RVDA of Canada. So, we collaborate very closely at the provincial and a national level, and now through, our work with RVTI, RVIA, and through RVWA. So it's very important, especially towards bigger goals where we need people, both at the border and sometimes. So it's just, I want to encourage everybody to try and work together as much as possible, because you may have information or resources that I'm not privy of or not aware of. So just have that dialogue and helps to deepen an understanding. And sometimes that's where misconceptions and miscommunications start, because you form these ideas without even talking to the other person. So let's start there, have that conversation and see what we can accomplish together.
Communication, key.
Yeah.
We're being asked, how many of you will be at the camp out? Anita, are you going to camp out?
I hope so.
Good. Stacey?
Al and I have gone for the last two or 3 years, and it is my favorite. I love it almost as much as I love Symposium.
Yep, you've been there since the inception. I remember you pulling in with your big rig. So you're going again. Laurie?
I don't think I'm going. I think Destiny's going, or Megan, one of them from here are probably going, but no, I'm in Florida. I don't know if they'll let me out.
You were at Symposium.
I do. I did like going to Symposium. I have to say, that first year I didn't really know what to expect. And then going back, and it's just like every time there's just a nugget. I mean, the Moxie Institute stuff from literally it's on my desk. Like, no lie, because I have to do manager training and it's on my desk. And I just, the skills and how does it support women in the industry? I think it's introducing to some people, like literally I needed you for something and I was like, this Tracy lady, who is this? And then I found you. I was like, oh great, I need an answer from you. Because otherwise I would have never had it if somebody didn't connect us. So
Yep.
I think supporting people by, like a lot are saying, networking and connections, and somebody that can get you something you need, or I think that's a great way to support people so that they can be successful and get done what they need to get done.
Yeah. I think that leads into one more question I think it looks like we have time for. What would you like to see more of in the RV industry? Anita, anything you'd like to see more of in the RV industry?
Yeah, I have many opportunities to talk to people that are newer to the industry, and I like to see them more. Their career path is not just less linear, but more like, hey, try different positions. You don't really know whether you're suitable until you give it a try. So even if you start out as an apprentice, maybe you'd be good in sales. So if the opportunity presents itself, like, don't just bypass it as, well, I could never see myself. It's just give it a try. You never know.
Right. I think we've all moved through different careers and segments in ours. So yeah, take advantage of those open doors and more training and things like that. Laurie?
Your RVW, the technician certification, for example,
Yep.
and the concept of broadening that to not only technicians, I think is key, even for when we moved our HQ office, and it's not at a dealership right now. The biggest, one of the biggest questions was, is accounting, payroll, HR, are they going to even know what an RV is, because we're not next door to it anymore? So understanding the product that the customers are purchasing and the whole process of, yes, the majority of them are, not in Florida, they're made in Indiana, and we're not so much surrounded by it. And so having those opportunities for them to understand the industry when it's not tied to our building anymore. These webinars being recorded are great.
Yeah, more education. It sounds like we're talking more education throughout different aspects of the industry, what's available, what we are, what we do. helps with Anita's too, because that gives you what other jobs are available. Am I just stuck here? Don't want to lose them. What fits them better, possibly. So, Savannah, if you're on, do you want to go through kind of what we have coming up in the RVWA segment here soon? I know we want to talk about Camp Out. If you haven't registered, get your registration in. It's the first weekend in May.
Yes. So May 2nd through the 4th, we will be at Twin Mills Camp Out, doing our spring camp out. This is the 3rd year. We have lots of great things planned. It is 80s themed this year, so we hope everybody can come out and participate in our 80s camp out. And then the next event coming up after that is our golf scramble, and that is going to take place on a Friday. It's June 20th. Both of those registrations are open and available for anyone to register and come out and attend.
It's great. Appreciate the updates. I think then we dive into June, July, and August with our summer series discussions, and then October again with symposium. So lots of good things coming up. In between there, I know we have more tech classes going on. We do have a night tech class that we're going to do this year. Never done night tech classes before, so that'll be a good one. I'm anxious to see on that one also.
I believe that there is a wait list for at Fleming for another female tech class as well. So I anticipate that there should be another one. I'm not sure when, but I do know that we have a wait list that's enough to make up another whole class.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. So good to hear. Growing need. Again, I just want to, if nobody knows, just a little put out there, a little silent thought of, we lost one of our biggest advocates on the tech side with Bill Stewart, who passed away, helped start up that and instructed, a lot of those classes, and he will be missed on that. So we thank him for all his service on that, and we'll miss a good friend there. So I want to thank our panel today. Thank you all. You're great. All you that joined in, I hope you learned a lot. Join us back again when we do our summer series discussions. So I'm looking forward to those too. So as always, have a great day, everybody.